I don't think they ever actually were able to cancel J.K. Rowling. So I don't know if you really need to uncancel her. But I loved this story from the Wall Street Journal.
This is a
Uh,
cope. This is a cope story, basically, right?
yeah, yeah. Um,
They're coping with the fact that you can't get rid of her. You
no.
can't cancel her, or you cancel Harry Potter. You dummy.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw it, and I said, "Good Lord, I I can't even with this." I'm looking at this thing going, "Well, I think they kind of missed the mark. The fact she's still around, just because she has opinions on men and women." Um, they you know, look. The game did what, $1.2 billion, $2.5 billion this year in retail sales for Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think they have a thing to worry about. But talking about staying true to stories and the adaptation with Dune, I thought this was a good time to bring up the fact that one of the things they're looking at with the TV shows, and this is what I found interesting, was they'll be able to add back in a lot of those story beats that never made it to the films. And I'm sorry, guys, we got pollen galore coming out outside, and it is starting to really kill
Got
me.
eye drops for it.
Oh, no, I need to go find some though. But the thing is that they'll be able to add a lot of things back into the stories that they couldn't do before. And I didn't know this, is that the actual books themselves, it's the only things that Warner Brothers can touch. So when they went to go make a Harry Potter television show, if they decided to make a sequel, a
Oh,
continuation,
interesting. I didn't
Harry
know
and
that.
Hermione
Yeah.
20 years later, they couldn't do it. They'd have to get J.K. Rowling's complete approval. She has to sign off on anything they touch, but for what they've already agreed to allow Warner Brothers to touch, and that's the original books. So essentially, there was no choice at the time they put this into motion to get an announcement going that they were going to remake the movies into individual television series, like each year at Hogwarts is a season. Um, and then you'll be able to get the stuff like the spew, the house elves that Hermione tried to unionize in the fourth book, which was stupid, but it was funny. Stuff like that didn't make it into the movies. All of more of the Potter stinks stuff and some of the other side stories and things that just got knocked out because there was no way to put them into every film. So that's the idea behind this. But apparently, look, David Zaslav and J.K. Rowling are talking, have been talking, getting along well. So I think it's a good start to test the waters, because the previous Warner Brothers regime, apparently, they had a big falling out with Rowling. So this was a big challenge for David Zaslav to get J.K. Rowling kind of wanting to work with them again, because when they did Fantastic Beasts, apparently, they had to cajole Rowling to coming in, signing off on the idea of creating this new branch, and making those movies. So that's kind of the story behind that. It's a long article, but I'm trying to find the spot here. Just talking about the book sales, and this is why Warner Brothers obviously wants to keep it going. Starting off with 50,000 copies on the original print run for the first book, and then adding more and more and more. Fourth book, fifth book, 10 million, 12 million copies. I mean, it's crazy. I love this. She hates, I'm a mother. I hate action figures, J.K. Rowling said. If the action figures are horrible, just tell the kids I said don't buy them. Talking about the
Oh,
Harry
wow.
Potter action figures. uh, Look, it's a lot of fun, this read. I would suggest everybody kind of look through it. I might do a video on it later in the week, but it does go into kind of talk about some of what I just mentioned about how Warner Brothers was very limited on what they could use to make a television show. So apparently that's why. So Rowling still has an enormous amount of control over that property. So interesting stuff. But I don't know. You guys out there looking forward to seeing what Warner Brothers is going to pull off with this new Harry Potter show. I'm kind of curious. I think as long as they don't get silly with it. But if Rowling's involved, I presume that attention to detail will be paid. So
Well, and yeah, I mean, Zaslav, you could tell was just like couldn't get this going fast enough, basically, right? I
Yeah, this
mean,
was one of the first things that he stepped into when he took the job at Warner Brothers was
well,
to
yeah, he's like, there hadn't been a Superman movie in like almost 20 years. There hadn't been a Harry Potter movie in a
yep.
decade or whatever, he's going on about. No, it makes more sense to do it as a show because then, like you said,
Hmm.
you can expand or not expand, but you can actually explore, I should say, areas that normally wouldn't have gotten explored in an adaptation before, and characters and events and things like that. And it's
Yeah.
smart. I mean, how many books is there? I don't even know. I'm not even a
Seven.
fan. So there
Seven.
you go.
Seven
That's
core
seven, at
books.
least 7 seasons, at least, if not more, you
Yeah.
can get out of this. So there you go.
Honestly, I mean, books 5, 6, and 7, you could each break up into 2 seasons. Not that I think they
I'm
would,
not
but
surprised considering the movie. Well, at least one or two of the movies was split up. I know that, but yeah.
the last one, the Deathly Hollows, yeah. And I mean, Order of the Phoenix, the sixth book, the Half Blood Prince, and Deathly Hollows, all three of those things were very, very long. I mean, 500 plus page novels. Those are big suckers. There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah, I mean, you could possibly even go farther than that. I mean, the only thing you want to do is try to keep it. I mean, this is where you look at the option to look at the Rowling thing. And this is kind of probably one of the reasons you have an article like this. This is what we've discussed before.
Mhm.
All the original actors turned on them. But as you just pointed out, all they have access to is the book. So how the hell would they use any of the older actors now anyway?
Right.
Unless they come up with a deal with her to continue the story beyond the first set of books and have
That's it.
adult versions of these characters, which is probably sounds like a good idea to some fans, especially fans of the books. Cause this was brought up to me because I'm not a Harry Potter fan. But you know, there's only been one adaptation of this character, and a lot of people grew up with these books.
Hmm.
So I can see a lot of resistance to recasting the characters, and I can see a lot more people being happier with a continuation where you see like the next generation with the original Harry Potter cast being, in the place of students and antagonists and other things like that, as
Yeah.
opposed to maybe rehashing the novels. But same time, at this point, here you have the opportunity, especially for the real heavy duty fans, to really dig deep, recast from top to bottom. That way you don't have to worry about anybody in the cast being supportive of JK or not. Just is what it is, and go forward from there. You got 10 years at least probably of stuff to milk. Go for it.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
for them, and they just got to get past this stupid shit with this canceling of JK Rowling. I have 0 F's to give about the character, the franchise, any of that stuff. I'm not in any way, shape, or form invested in it, but just the way that they've gone after this lady is uncalled.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.